has conquered something. It was not only a large wedding, but it was a thoroughly westernized wedding. The only eastern part was the wedding cake, which was in the form of a Buddhist pagoda. But to get through to the wedding was quite a problem. There were hours of smiles that had to be gone through first. Smiling and bowing. They probably were averaging 600 or 700 bows an hour when I left. These bows must have been tremendous from the standpoint of reduction programs. They would undoubtedly keep a good waistline. But everyone was bowing and smiling. There was no handshaking. This was a little too conventional. But everyone met everyone else with a very solicitous consideration for age, for the patterns of life, for relationships, and everyone was bowing and smiling from ear to ear. It was a wonderful occasion. And in the East, anything that is possible to celebrate is celebrated. They have feasts and ceremonies and rituals and festivities every day of the year. Morning till night, all the time, there is something to be grateful for. Here we just can't find anything worth enduring. Yet we have much more than they have. But they have this one thing that seems to be important, and that is that little garden, or that quiet place, like the shrine on the top of the department store. When you get through shopping, you'll go up and pray a little while and get your nerves put together again. Then you go back and say in the basement bargain shop again. Bargains begin and end with prayer, by which it means everyone is happy. The Sumo Wrestling Championships were on. And as most of you know, these massive persons really represent a kind of wrestling or athletics unknown in the West. A tremendous championship bout that lasts 10 seconds. In the course of the championships, while these massive mountains of muscle were locked in what appeared to be deadly conflict, the camera of the television showed close-ups of the faces of these struggling men. Here they were locked in a to-the-death championship. And the close-up showed both of them smiling cherubiquely. There wasn't the slightest look of tension or animosity on them. They looked like innocent little children, smiling benignly at each other while locked in this struggle for championship. When it was finally decided and the camera showed the winner and the loser, the smiles on both were exactly the same. There was no way about telling by the man's demeanor whether he won or lost. They asked one of the champions about this on account of strangers present. Well, he said, we always smile. If we are smiling and have lost, we are smiling because a good man has won. If we smile and win, we are smiling because heaven has been kind to us. But there's always a reason to rejoice. Even a loss should not interfere with our being grateful that we have been good sports, we've done the best we could, that's all there is to it. This is unfathomable to Western man, who's got to put all he has behind something and come out a complete wreck. Tension in this kind of living naturally tears us very much and leaves us without too many resources against tomorrow with its new burdens. So let us at least try to gain a small lesson from perhaps our Eastern neighbors who have some rather interesting things that they can share with us. And one is to work for this childlike way of acceptances in life. A way of life in which We are not unhappy because of burdens. We have only one reason to be unhappy, and that is if burdens make us unhappy. Then there's something wrong with us. But we are not to be miserable because someone else has more than we have. That others should have more is very fortunate for them, and we should rejoice for them. It just doesn't occur to us that there is always some way of adjusting the mind so that it takes the hurt out of our own thoughts. That we are no longer desperately injuring ourselves. The moment we fall into negativity, we begin to think of unfairness. We begin to grumble that someone is more fortunate than we are, and this is an unhappy situation. But in a Buddhist country, this is not an unhappy situation. It simply indicates that the other person has earned something that we haven't earned, and we rejoice for it, and hope that his example will inspire us to earn likewise. In the West, we are jealous of him. We feel that he has no right to these things. And one of the reasons that this feeling has increased with us is because we have lost a concept of universal justice. Western man no longer believes in a universe that is controlled by a divine plan. To us, in the Western world, the universe is anybody's opportunity. And we resent the individual who steps forward and makes more of this opportunity. It never occurs to us to realize that there is a plan, and that this plan has to be obeyed, and that we have to learn to obey it. We have not any longer any faith in the integrities of things. We have no faith that our own good deeds will ever be rewarded, therefore we are not very much concerned in maintaining them. We believe to the moment that it's every man for himself and the devil take the hindmost. And we live this way. And naturally, we are sick, tired, and miserable. In the Zen garden, we become capable of a certain quietude inside ourselves. And if we achieve this quietude, if we once experience it, if for even a few moments we actually can experience peace of soul, if the possible good that can come to us is known to us, even for a few moments, it is as though a wonderful light came through a cloud. The individual who finds this peace in himself is born into a new universe of values. He is born into a better world than he has ever known before. He suddenly discovers that the whole pattern of things is nothing but his own acceptances and his own rejections. That the mad rush of people around him cannot make him happy and cannot make him unhappy, unless he takes sides with the wrong group in some way. But actually, regardless of everything, we are all free until we become enslaved to an attitude. And then we cannot liberate ourselves again. We none of us ever have an enemy until we make one. And we never have an adversary till we acknowledge him. We are all of us creating these psychic intensities which bog us down. And there is really no reason for them. We have to gain the strength, however, to live with people before we can overcome this. As long as we are afraid of public opinion, we must remain stupid in order to enjoy the high respect of others. But when we no longer care and no longer are willing to be miserable simply because it is fashionable, then we can see through these patterns into something different and better. We have a wonderful kind of life of our own. This life is always available to us. We are sculptors. We can fashion it as we will. We are master architects. We can create the structure of our own pattern of existence exactly as we will. There are only two provisos. One is that what we will must be right, must be essentially proper, or else the creation of it will cause harm, and this harm will hurt us. But assuming that the thing we want to do is reasonable and proper, we have the right to do it. And every individual has the right at any moment to give up any attitude that hurts him. If anger has worried you and injured you and